The government could get a majority in the Senate with a stroke of a pen. There's absolutely no excuse for having their legislation gutted, and they should be loudly called out for incompetence, should that be something that actually happens. There's an easy answer to avoid this. Fill the Senate with liberal senators immediately. It's just incompetence to leave the Senate open, and they complain that they can't pass legislation. If it's by design, then that's contempt of Parliament. And if it's through blowback, then it's incompetence. So he's incompetent or he's corrupt. Pick your choice. It's the same outcome either way. When I voted for the Liberals, it was because I wanted them to pass legislation, not because I wanted them to create a mess in the Senate that would prevent them from passing legislation. It's a comically absurd situation. He's obstructing his own agenda. The media should really be taking him to task for it. It doesn't matter what you think of the Senate. This is the worst possible outcome from any perspective. When our framers, who were not Americans, designed our system of government, it was very consciously done to prevent the errors that the people in the United States made when they constructed their system of government. That's why our country has avoided the kinds of problems that exist in the American system of government. And nowhere at any point have we ever made a choice that we want to be that we want to emulate or mimic the American system. Everywhere we have always made the choice that we want to avoid the problems that exist in the United States. So I don't want a system of checks and balances. I don't want an independent Senate. And that really wasn't what was in the platform, nor what anybody voted for. What was in the platform was some empty language about, appointing people based on merit that nobody took seriously. This is corruption, and it's the way that it should be viewed. Okay, this is an attempt to sabotage the way the state functions, and it should not be tolerated. Again, I voted for the Liberals. I broadly support the guy's platform. I don't think he's the person that should be running the country. In a sense, the Prime Minister is not like the President. He's the titular head of state. Not even technically the titular head of government, but it's just beyond the pale. And this should not be viewed as an opportunity for the Senate to prove itself. It should be viewed in terms of being a corruption scandal, because he's sabotaging the business of the House, and it should not be tolerated by the opposition. It should not be tolerated by the people in his own party. To organize a state that cannot function is even bordering on a line of treason, and it just should not. His own party needs to react, because if they can't pass their own legislation, then it's it reduces the whole process to a cynical joke, right? And it's unfortunately, he seems to have the media on his side on this, because the media in the country is very anti-populist. It's the media. I've been over this before. The media in the country is old Tory. Okay, what that means is it's deeply aristocratic, very skeptical of people, and this kind of is going to tickle them the right way, sort of thing, and that's dangerous, right? It should not be. The media should. I've seen a few articles, but the media should really be just railing on this and doing everything it can to force the government to reverse its Senate reform policies, to appoint a functioning Senate, to prevent an elected body from interfering with the business of democracy in the country, and to get things moving back the way that they should be. If this happens again, I'm gonna get people out marching. This is enough for me to create a revolt type situation, because it's the abolition of democracy, not the strengthening of it. And people need to stand up and indicate that they won't tolerate this. So, as it stands right now, we've got a bill that was passed, that was created by Democratic representatives, and we have an unelected body that thinks it has the mandate to stop it. And the issue, the bill doesn't even matter. The real issue is that people need to ensure that the Senate does not think it has the right to modify legislation that's put forward by elected representatives, because it doesn't. The harder it wants to push, the harder people need to push back. And we need to be talking about getting rid of it. If it insists on interfering with the process of democracy in the country, then the Senate needs to be abolished, and that's all there is to it.